In the battle to lead Houston, voters put Sylvester Turner squarely in the driver's seat. With just 34 days to work with, can runner-up Tony Buzbee find a way to close the gap? In the nation's capital, House Democrats continue the push toward impeachment. With 2020 looming, can the president convince Americans he's the victim of a witch hunt? And here at home, the state of Texas drops the hammer on Houston ISD. Will a controversial takeover bring better education to more than 200,000 kids? I'm Greg Rugen, and welcome to Watch Your Point, where our panelists call it like they see it. Let's greet them. Starting us off, Charles Blaine, founder of the advocacy group Urban Reform. Next up, legal analyst and Houston attorney Carmen Rowe. In the three spot, Bob Price, associate editor of Breitbart, Texas. Batting cleanup, longtime super neighborhood leader Tamara Bell. Next up, conservative lawyer and Second Amendment expert Michelle Maples. And closing us out on the hot corner, writer, educator, and radio host Antonio Diaz. Let's begin. The voters have spoken, moving incumbent Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner into a December 14th runoff with top challenger Tony Buzbee. Attracting nearly 47% of the vote, Turner flirted with an outright majority before settling for an 18-point margin over runner-up Tony Buzbee.
I love this city. I love everybody in this city. Whether you vote for me or you don't vote for me. Whether you stand with me or don't stand with me. Whether you say a good word or don't say a good word. I am your mayor, and I will represent you to the end.
A few miles away, donning Marine Corps camo, Buzbee addressed his supporters.
Now, somebody say, oh, Tony Buzbee's not going to make the runoff. Well, guess what? We're going to make the runoff. And when we make that runoff, we are going to win. We are going to win.
On the day after the election, Mr. Buzbee was asked by reporters if he'd been drinking before his speech. Buzbee responded that any rambling was due to exhaustion, not alcohol. 34 days, 18 points, a lot of ground to make up for Buzbee and not much time to do it. So let's get to our panel. Tamara Bell, welcome back. You've been in the trenches. What's your read on what's happening now?
First off, what's your point, family? I am so happy to be back. And yes, Greg is correct. I've been in the trenches and I'm still recovering. It was a long fight and a battle. I had 5 races. Of my 5 races, I learned because I never lose. One of them, I'm in a runoff in 3, and one of my candidates outright won. And now looking at the runoff coming up, let me tell you, each candidate has a pathway to victory. I don't care if it's 18 points, I don't care if it's 20. The problem with a runoff on December 14th, that's holiday time. Most people have their minds made up about what they're going to be doing, what they're going to be cooking, where they're going to be going. They may not be here. In the last 2015, it lost off almost 30% of the voters didn't come back to the poll. So it's who gets their voters out and what motivates their voters to come back. That will determine who will win. In this election, you've seen what money can do. And I'm telling you, on the early voting, especially that first week, nobody was coming to the polls. We did comparisons on a daily. The numbers were abysmal in comparison to 2015 because the voters were not coming out. And it was because of the weather. It was because of the Astros. And then on election day, they showed up and they showed out. So each of the candidates, they have work to do to get those people from Bill, from Dwight, and from Sue to flip from them. That's almost 60,000 votes that neither of them got, that they've got to try to get in this next
Bob
round.
Price, can Buzbee make up that ground?
Well, absolutely. First, before I start, I'd like to say happy 244th birthday to the United States Marine Corps, and happy Veterans Day to all those who have served and those who currently serve. Excellent. So that said, I think when you look at the 52% that did not vote for the mayor, they're not likely to vote for the mayor in the runoff election. So it's a matter of, can Buzbee excite those people to come back and vote again? And that's going to be the work he's going to have to do, is make sure that every person who voted, whether they voted for him, voted for Bill King, or anyone else on that ballot, that they come back out and vote again. And it's easier to motivate those people that want to get rid of the corruption in the city hall than it is for the mayor to turn out people that just want status quo.
Tony, the mayor took a beating on this show from the media, and yet pulls out 46%, 47% of the vote. What was your take on that?
Well, and like we said on the show, if you're going to do a mudslinging fest, I think it brings down voter turnout. I think that's why a lot of folks waited to the last minute to go, because their stomach was churning as they had to pick a choice. And I think really where we're at right now is maybe it comes down to if Tony Buzbee is excited or not. The mayor has momentum. He had momentum at midnight. He was declaring victory, and it looked like he was about to walk away with the 50% plus the one vote he need. Didn't quite happen that way. I think what happens now is he's got momentum on his side. Folks made a decision on if some of these issues would stick or not. Tony Buzbee's got to look back, and I think he's got to decide. Is he going to spend another $5 to $10 million? That might be more than the mayor can raise in a small amount of time. Here's the other thing I think. I don't care if he puts $20 million on the line. Same campaign will lead to the same results where he doesn't get past 30%, unless it is about issues. It's not about mudslinging, and people believe he really wants to do the hard work. Because that's the thing. Well, say this about Bloomberg, Trump, and any other millionaire. It doesn't seem like they really want to work hard, and it doesn't seem like they really want me to be their boss.
Okay, scrutiny goes both ways, and now it's down to two. Tony Buzbee gets a lot more scrutiny. What do you think his chances are?
I think they're high. I think Buzbee, as long as he laser focuses on the individuals who were backing Bill King, the individuals who were backing Dwight Boykins, and the individuals that were backing Sue Lovell, if he can rally those individuals to come out on December 14th, I think he's going to beat Mayor Turner. And it all comes down to, do you want 4 more years of corruption and pay to play and somebody who absolutely hates the firefighters? And the answer is no. So we've got to get out there on December 14th and choose a fresh start.
Okay, Charles Blaine, nobody thinks about this stuff more than you do. That doesn't work for a media source, and you are your own media source. What's your take on this election outcome?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. It trailed along the lines of the polls that we saw. So everybody was saying that the polling was wrong. Well, it was more in line with what we saw on Election Day than what we had anticipated, or people were saying. I think Buzbee does have a shot. I think, like Tony says, it needs to be a different campaign. Like Tomorrow says, we're heading into Christmas season. We need a kind of more upbeat approach. We have not heard from any of the candidates a positive vision of what they want to see from this city. And I think the mayor's a skillful politician. I mean, how else do you get 47% with never having an issues section on your website? And so you really have to engage, and I think we need to see a positive campaign if he wants to build inroads with the folks from King's camp, from Boykins' camp. I don't know how much from Lovell's camp he's going to be able to pull. Even the folks who voted for Derrick Broze and Demetria Smith. I mean, he's got to go after all these people and make sure that if Turner was their second choice, he's showing them why Buzbee should be their second choice. He probably won't be for a lot of them, but I do think there's a pathway there. He just needs to switch up his campaign tactics.
Okay, clear-eyed pragmatist Carmen Rowe, what's your takeaway having seen what happened on Tuesday night?
Well, I'm disappointed at the numbers for Sylvester Turner, given all of the corruption and all the stuff that's out there. But I think runoffs, it's anybody's game. I mean, I'm disappointed I haven't seen more from Tony Buzbee. I think he needs the momentum that Sylvester now has. And so, but I think if he gets out there, I think he could change the game. I think he could be our next mayor. You look back at things like the Ted Cruz and David Dewhurst situation, these runoffs bring out these die-hard people who are like, enough Turner, I'm coming out to vote. Those are the people that are going to go to those polls. So if Tony can get it together and he can rally those people, I think it's his game.
Real quickly, tomorrow, we're hearing that Buzbee may be sitting on his wallet this time and may not be willing to pay. How much does he have to spend to make it a contest?
I have too much intel that I'm trying to see how I can say this delicately. Okay. All right, look. He gonna need to spend everything that he has to spend in order for him to win this race. Backing up what Carmen said about those who are against him coming out and voting hard, both of them. I was with Bill King. I'm with nobody now. I don't know who I'm voting for. I mean that. I'm nobody. I'm one of those people who, how can you convince me to vote for you? So it's gonna take more than some money. It's gonna take what Tony said, some issues, same thing that he said. You've got to talk about what are you going to do, and especially if you've been in there 4 years, what are you going to do differently?
Got to leave it there.